Welcome to the Three Stooges podcast from Winnipeg. We're all together, fellas. No, I'm just joking. It's a 3DownNation podcast after the 112th Grey Cup at Chez Jean Auge. This place is sick, Johnny.
Thanks, buddy. And I've wanted to do this a few times while recording the pod, and now I actually can. So this has to happen.
Jesus, bro, you're going to kill me. Y'all are supposed to be my bodyguards, not hurting me. Come on.
I say it with love. I do.
Jumbo Cheese, what do you got to say for yourself?
Just worried that you're going to smack back at me if you don't like what I'm going to say. This angle, you hit me right in the snaz.
This is true.
I won't do that, but you do look good in a suit coat.
Yes.
Hodge, you got an orange hat on. I don't know what's up with that. It's kind of random.
I mean, I can put the Grey Cup hat back on if you really want to.
No, I don't even want to say what that looked like.
What does that mean?
Hodge is making his Grey Cup pick for 2026. It's the BC Lions.
Actually, that's pretty sick.
Oh.
BC Lions over Montreal Alouettes. I can see it.
I suppose I can say it on the pod. When you had that hat on, it looked like a condom on the top of your head.
Oh.
Johnny Rubbers.
One could argue that the world should be protected from my thoughts. I guess.
Okay, before we go way off the rails, fellas, we're on little sleep, but I don't care, bro. The 3DownNation crew got after it. I want to send a big time shout out to our guy, Pablo Herrera Vargera. This kid is a young up and comer. If you ain't following him on socials, especially on X or Twitter, go please do that, because this guy, I feel like, really came out of his shell during Grey Cup week, and he could be the next one, dare I say. So Pablo might be for real. I know his Montreal Alouettes lost. I'm just joking. He's not a homer. But he had a great piece on Davis Alexander, insight into how bad his left hamstring tear was, and just how Davis Alexander took the loss. It's up at 3downnation.com. Go and take a look. But I want to shout out to these two guys beside me as well. These guys are monsters. Have gotten after it all week long, despite, JC. We didn't even talk about this all week. The time change for you. It's what, 2 hours difference from BC?
That's
true.
true.
Or yeah, 2 hours. No, 3. 3 Eastern.
3's the Eastern Grey Cup. So, man, you gutted it out. There was one morning where I had to make sure you were awake. So you started doing the depth chart articles, but that's okay. That's okay. We got it all done. And most importantly, we appreciate everybody out there for your support, your readership, your viewership, keeping us balanced, right? Coming to us with the stuff that you don't like. And in person, that really stood out to me this year, fellas. I think by a long shot, walking around the team parties and wherever else we were at Grey Cup, this is the most amount of people that have come up to us and been like, hey, I love the pod. I listen to you guys every week. And it wasn't just fans. It was like people within the league too, like coaches and players and personnel types. So, that's not necessarily why we do it. We just talk Canadian ball because we love talking about it. So it's really cool to be able to interact with everybody, chop it up at the Grey Cup, which is always a great time. You guys agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I especially, I probably had over 24 people over the course of the weekend come up and say hi and, give me love, which was great. Also, thank you for the love. You're making me feel guilty for choking you, but we'll move on. But especially the CFL Fans Fight Cancer event, $70,000 raised for a wonderful cause. It's obviously touched, everybody, I think, in some capacity, but has also been very pertinent, right? Especially this year. A year ago we lost Ted Wyman, beloved Winnipeg reporter who would have loved to cover this Grey Cup. Just this year, we, of course, lost Hamilton Tiger Cats general manager Ted Gavaya, a guy who loved Grey Cup more than just about anybody. And then Anton Amandrew, quarterback for the Saskatchewan Huskies, just being diagnosed. We, of course, wish the best to him and his family and friends. And the Huskies are going to the Vanier Cup without their star quarterback because of this disease that is awful. So thank you to everybody who donated and came to that event, and everybody who approached us. Literally every person who came up and talked to us, I'll just speak for myself. Literally every person who came up and talked to me was nice and super supportive, and we love and appreciate all the support that we get from y'all.
JC, who'd you chat to?
I chatted to probably...
I'm going to go get some water. I'll be right back.
I kind of want the big chair now.
Well, we'll continue on with this empty chair in front of us.
This is this chair is for our fourth downer who's going to join us. Maybe Pablo.
This is the chair, Pablo. If you're watching on YouTube, this is where you could be in just a few years. No, I probably talked to a dozen, 15 or so maybe fans at the parties this week at various events. People coming up to us expressing, how much they appreciate our writing, how much they appreciate the podcast. Thanking us for holding the league accountable on a number of issues, giving their 2 cents on what should be asked to teams, the commissioners, various things like that. And it's always wonderful to hear from those people because sometimes we feel a little bit isolated in our silos doing the work, grinding away. Like, is anybody actually out there listening?
Figments of your imagination.
Exactly, figments of our imagination. So it's wonderful to hear from fans at an event like this that what we're actually doing matters to at least a few people.
At least a few. It was really cool though, like fans from all the different teams. But let's get into the game, guys. That's what we're here to do. Break it down while it's fresh and hot. The Saskatchewan Roughriders win the 5th Grey Cup in team history, still the least in the CFL, but Trevor Harris would say, well, they've won the most recent one. So let's break it down. Johnny Hodge, you start.
The whole, they've only won 5 thing doesn't really matter to me. I mean,
Get more water.
Won 3 since 2007. Yeah, I don't know what's up with you, dude. What? I think we're all getting sick is the problem, which is what happens when, I'll just speak for myself. You sleep 3 hours a night, consume 300 milligrams of caffeine during the day, and eat nothing but press box pizza, which is a separate issue. And the reason I say that is because I think the context of the CFL has changed a lot, right? For most of the Riders' existence, they played in a CFL that did not have a salary cap, and they were a have-not franchise, right? Throughout the 70s, the 80s, you had teams in Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal selling 40, 50, 60,000 tickets a game, while the Riders were the redheaded prairie stepchild to an extent. And now, obviously, they've been at or very near the top of the CFL for 20 years, in terms of fan engagement, revenue, all those things. So full credit to the Riders. They deserve to win this game. Trevor Harris got a little lucky early on. I think that's fair to say. Maybe a lot lucky with the Ento drop. That should have been a pick 6. I talked to Ento after the game. And by the way, I'll give the Alouettes some credit here. I was in the locker room. I spoke to at least 10 guys. Literally every person I talked to was gracious, courteous, professional. And talking to the media 15 minutes after your dreams get crushed and you lose a Grey Cup, not an easy thing to do. Every single person, super professional, from Jason Moss, everybody on the team, including their comms folks. Super, super appreciate that. And I think my colleagues in the media who were there would echo that. Everybody got everything they wanted, and that helps with our storytelling and obviously bringing fans into the league. But after that one hiccup from Trevor Harris, he played mistake-free football.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Riders play like a crazy electric brand of football, but they play championship football, right? They limit mistakes on offense. They control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They force Davis Alexander to stay in the pocket. And when their defense had opportunities for takeaways, they made the most of them. Marcus Sales, great pick on a slightly underthrown ball on that first series for the Montreal Alouettes. There was the Hail Mary pick at the end of the second quarter, and then Davis Alexander tried to force that ball into traffic when he shouldn't have, and Tavon Campbell comes up with the pick. So between those and then obviously Tavon Campbell forcing the fumble with 3 minutes left, I'm sure we'll chop that up. Maybe JC could take the Shea Patterson angle. But great performance from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I don't think this is going to be like an instant classic Grey Cup where everybody's talking about how, it's one of the best of all time. But it was a good game. I pulled a bunch of people in the media suite after this one, and I said, what would you grade that game on a scale from 1 to 10? Just in terms of how great of a game you thought it was. And basically everybody was between a 6 and a 7. I was personally leaning 6 or 7. So I'm going to give it a 6. No.
You brought that upon yourself. I need you to know that. I'm not even cool and hip with the kids.
Can't believe we just did that on the pod. I'm going to give it a 6.5. And honestly, I think that's better than last year's Grey Cup. Last year was a blowout. The year before that was actually a good game in Hamilton. The year before that was a complete stinker. And then the ending was good. 2021 was good. 2019 was a blowout. 2018 was not a very well played game. Like 2016, I think is still the last great Grey Cup, but this was a good Grey Cup. And the better
2017 was really good. In the snow, Shania Twain.
The issue with 2017 was that the field was an ice rink, and that hampered.
No, 2018 it was an ice rink.
Okay, fair enough.
In Edmonton. 2017 in Ottawa.
Fair enough.
The Argos upset the Calgary Stampeders.
DeVere Posey.
Yes.
Catch. Was it Cassius Vaughn?
Yes.
Cassius Vaughn.
Okay, I'm not sure I'd call that a
Sean Lemon was running with him. That Grey Cup was really good, bro.
It was okay, but fair enough. I agree. It was very good. It was not like 2016, mind you, might be the best of all time. So that's a steep hill, but it was good Grey Cup. And also, I just want to give a quick shout out to the fans. Obviously, a ton from around the country, but the heart of any Grey Cup festival is the local fans. And Winnipeg, I thought, showed out. We were at the parties Friday night, Saturday night. I was around for a ton of stuff, and everywhere I went, places were busy, places were packed, and it seemed like fans were great, like super cordial, super welcoming. You know, friendly Manitoba is on our license plates in this province, and I thought that Manitoba lived up to that billing. I've seen a ton of feedback from out-of-town fans who gave Winnipeg fans credit, so shout out. The stadium was packed. I'd say it was about 30% green. You guys think that's fair to say?
I would go even higher than that.
Okay, yeah. And the Rider fans were super loud. They were actually louder than the rest of the fans combined, which is great. I don't think there was a ton of Owls fans that made the trip. Also, I'm sorry, Montreal's the only team with no party. You're in the game. The Schooners have a party. The Schooners haven't existed ever. Why was there no Montreal party? You could have even just gone in with the rest of the East teams, but whatever. That's that. So all in all, the game was good. The festival's great. MGK, I don't know. It was fine. It was good.
He had some good songs.
People seem to like it. So yeah, that's my take. And credit again to the Riders. Good win.
Well, we're talking about the parties. JC, I'll throw it to you in a second. Just to drill down on that, okay, Ottawa, Hamilton, and Toronto have parties together. And to echo Hodge's point even more, the Atlantic Schooners, who don't exist, have a bigger, better party than literally all the East teams because Montreal doesn't even have one. Yeah. It's crazy, but I think we should give some kudos to Wade Miller, everybody who was involved in planning the Grey Cup Festival, because the setup, I would say, it might be recency bias, for the team parties was really good. Dare I say the best that I've ever experienced. I thought BC was pretty good, but like the rooms were huge and just lacked some atmosphere. But the variety that you got down there, what's the convention center, Hodge, called?
RBC.
The RBC Convention Center?
No, okay. I just want to make sure I got the name right.
Sponsored ship for RBC.
At the downtown Winnipeg Convention Center. I do some of my banking with RBC. They're pretty good. Shout out Billy Baston.
I don't know if I like my bank anymore.
Yeah, maybe we'll get you over there. But either way, I thought that was very well done. And there was a definite buzz around downtown because you had the teams both staying down there. And it just seemed like, as you said, Hodge, the local community supported it, but also a lot of people from out of town. So I thought that was well done. They had one of JC's, is that your favorite artist ever, Alan Doyle? You're rocking out to?
Great Big C stand. Alan Doyle, probably seen him in concert 14 times between the band.
Now it's 15.
And yeah, now it's 15. And that's that. If you told like 10-year-old JC that he would be covering a Grey Cup and he'd get to watch Alan Doyle in concert, he would say you're lying because that's a fantasy. And I got to live it. I got to live it, baby. My dreams may not be big, but they're achievable.
We got to that concert, and JC's like, I'm the biggest Alan Doyle fan. I'm like chuckling. I'm like, oh, yeah. And he's like, I'm not joking.
Serious.
This is, and then he started, like, Alan Doyle launched a song, and JC knows every word. And I'm like, oh, this is real. Okay. So fair enough. Like, and actually, I don't think I knew a single Alan Doyle song before. I'm going to listen to him now. I thought it was a really good concert. Maybe better than MGK. Maybe.
No. Hey, we got in there and I heard the sound of the music and I was like, I don't even know who this guy is, but I know JC's going to like it.
I was singing you all his stuff when we were at Touchdown Atlanta.
It just went in one ear and out the other, bro. You know what I was listening to. You know what I like.
For me, the game itself came down to the line of scrimmage and the physicality of the Riders, because I thought the offensive line did an incredible job protecting Trevor Harris, right? He made the comment after the game that he didn't even need to wear shoulder pads because he was essentially untouched all game long. They did a remarkable job there. I thought they did a really nice job blocking for AJ Ouellette as well. With the backfield, opened up some glorious holes for him. There were some pulls, some trap blocks that were really impressive. Jacob Brammer climbing up to the second level on one occasion, just ate Darnell Sankey's lunch. That was beautiful to watch. And I thought the receivers blocked as well as the offensive linemen at times, making plays down the field. There was a big pancake block early on from Adjo Adjo. There was a number of key blocks from other guys as well. Keon Schiffer-Baker, Dante Myers, all chipping in, doing the dirty work that it takes to win a championship. I thought that was critical for the Riders offensively to get the hard yards that they needed. And then for the Montreal Alouettes, I thought it was a bit of a lackluster performance from them from that standpoint. I thought Davis Alexander got some pressure on it, even though they didn't surrender any sacks. Habakkuk Baldonado on a couple of plays was making an impact off the edge. Mike Rose, Micah Johnson, they all got in Alexander's face, particularly as the game went on. And then you're down at the goal line, or 2nd and 2 from the 3-yard line, with a chance to QB sneak and get in for a touchdown. Shea Patterson plunging forward, and you have a cornerback in Tavon Campbell up against a fullback in Jacob Mason, and that should be a mismatch in favor of the offense when it comes to physicality at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't. Tavon Campbell knocks Jacob Mason back and into Shea Patterson, pops that ball loose as he's making the tackle, and that was the play of the game right there. I know that the Riders didn't get points on the ensuing drive. They missed the field goal. Montreal still had a chance on that final drive. It wasn't over, said and done, but they very well could have tied it. And I think if they tied it on that Patterson sneak, they would have won that football game. For Tavon Campbell to step up, to put all ego aside, right? This is a guy who played cornerback in the NFL for 6 years, right? He's down there. He's making millions of dollars. He's scoring defensive touchdowns in the NFL. For him to put his nose in there in that moment and to say it was the best play of his career and this was the best game of his career, I think that speaks volumes about what that culture was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders this season, because everybody was giving it their all.
I don't think you can say that if the Alouettes scored there, it would have been a tie game. They still needed to get the 2-point convert.
Fair. I think
and there was lots of time left in terms of winning it.
Yeah,
I don't think that was a given.
I agree with you. I don't think it's a given, but I think the momentum would have been on Montreal's side.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the odds shift for most of this game, I think the odds were squarely with the Riders. This was a game that they had control of. I think if Montreal scores there and gets the 2-point convert to tie, the Riders are no longer in control. And the Alouettes have seized it back. Well, I think that matters.
And
right?
even if you miss the 2-point convert, it's now a 2-point game. So if you're Saskatchewan's offense going on the field with 3 minutes left, it's like if we go 2-0 here, we could lose the game on a field goal. Like there's lots of times Canadian Football League, there's ample time for the Owls to drive the field. So I absolutely agree. Tavon Campbell play the game there. I talked to Shea Patterson in the locker room. He was, I think, the most despondent I've ever seen an athlete. He had his gear off, had a towel over his head. He was facing his locker. And a bunch of us went over to him, and he very, very, very slowly kind of turned around, glassy-eyed, vacant stare. And to his credit, spoke to us, but spoke very, very softly, very slowly, clearly beside himself. He did have one great quote. He said, you always try to get better, not bitter, which I think is a great attitude to have. But yeah, obviously he's going to be wearing this one for a while. And he obviously started 6-7 games for the Riders last season. So playing against his former team, I'm sure he would have loved nothing more than to punch in that run for the touchdown. Instead, he ends up with the goat horns, having fumbled away a potential game-tying touchdown.
The Alouettes did have a chance early on, though, fellas, to have a lead in this game and take control of it. I think of the first offensive series, Tyson Philpott streaking open on what looked to me like a deep post route, had beat Marcus Sales and Roland Milligan Jr., but Haba Baldonado gets enough pressure in his face that throw comes up short. Sales intercepts it, but still, the Alouettes got the first touchdown of the game, went up 7-1, and you felt like there were some other plays, at least a couple, that could have put them in control. But then Trevor Harris settled in after that, would-be potential pick six to KB and Ento, where he tries to float a swing pass there to AJ Ouellette and was just decisive and very workmanlike. I felt like in terms of working through his reads and dissecting the Northrop defense that he admitted, confused him early in the game, but really got into a rhythm in that second quarter. Then AJ Ouellette came alive. He had a great, pretty much just second quarter, fellas. He was really good in that second quarter. You might have been able to make an argument for him for game MVP if he did a little bit more in the second half, but that was largely Trevor Harris doing his thing, getting in rhythm, especially with Samuel Emilus and some of the other receivers that the Riders have. And I think going into this game, it seemed like the sentiment around our colleagues in the media was that the Montreal Alouettes were going to win and potentially quite easily. And I was just like, where's this coming from? Saskatchewan has arguably the better offensive line, arguably the better defensive line. And we talk about trench play deciding so many of these games. So I don't know what is wrong with me, but
Better not get me sick.
yeah, hopefully not.
Usually this is not a problem with the pod. One time, dude. One time.
And I'm hacking up a lung. I just couldn't understand why everybody was so hot about the Alouettes. I do get it because Davis Alexander was 13-0 and the statistical difference with him on the field was undeniable. But when you really broke it down, you could see Saskatchewan's path to victory. Not that Montreal couldn't have won, because Montreal didn't even really play great football at all and still had a chance on a Hail Mary at the end.
Yeah.
Like, if you're the Owls looking back at this tape, you are just going to be so upset with yourself because you're going to be thinking about all these missed opportunities. And Davis Alexander threw 3 picks. Okay, let's take one away because it was an end of the half Hail Mary. But those 2 picks were not good. Yet the Alouettes still had a chance, as you guys alluded to, late in that ball game to potentially surge in for a touchdown, get the 2-point convert, and be in a tie game situation, or be down by 2 and perhaps kick a winning field goal or have another Tyson Philpott game-winning touchdown. So I don't think the Alouettes were horrible, and the Riders' yards were hard-earned. But to me, you look at some of the plays that were made that went under the radar. Sales had the pick. Sales had the fumble recovery. JC, you noted this. Sales had the key knockdown on that Hail Mary to end the football game. Tavon Campbell was involved in that fumble. He had an interception as well when Alexander was trying to fit a throw into tight coverage to Tyson Philpott. Probably never should have thrown it there. Now, we did have a pass interference call and missed a tackle on Philpott where he picked up a 20-plus yard gain. But overall, Corey Mace's defensive game plan was really good. It was essentially put Alexander in the pocket or try to contain him there, which they did for the majority of the first half, and say, okay, Davis Alexander, you beat us from the pocket. Let's see what you can do. And for the majority of the game, that didn't happen. The Alouettes offense, to me, really came alive in that third quarter and even the fourth quarter when Davis Alexander was extending plays a little bit, ran a couple times, and that got them going. So it shows that they're at least a bit of a different team with him as a pocket passer, which he was for almost the entire first half. He did not leave the pocket until less than 30 seconds left in the second quarter. And when I say leave the pocket, I mean, JC, were we talking about this? It was catch the shotgun snap, quick drop, pull the trigger, quick catch, pull the trigger, 1-step and throw, or 3-step drop and let it go. So I'm going to guess that was part of the game plan for Jason Moss. Let's leave him in there. Let's protect him. And then if we need to push it in the second half, let's do it. And credit to our guy, Pablo Barguera, that found out that it went from a grade 2 strain coming into the Grey Cup to a serious grade 3 strain and close to coming off the bone, but it will not require surgery on that left hamstring for Alexander.
I think it's important to talk about Davis Alexander's game. Now, I asked a bunch of the Riders after the game how affected they thought he was by the hamstring injury. They were very diplomatic, essentially saying he played well. They don't know what his situation was, and they don't really care because they played him as if he was playing at 100%. But I think it's pretty clear from that performance that he wasn't. And to me, it was a major factor in how the rhythm of this game played out. Because in the first half, as you laid out, Dunk, he was not willing to move. And I think that was a conscious decision from him and Jason Moss to say, I'm not going to scramble or use my legs unless I absolutely have to, because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to last 60 minutes if I do. And lasting 60 minutes was the priority. I thought the Alouettes offense looked tremendously more dangerous once he was on the move and able to play his game in the second half. It looked like the offense that we were used to seeing with him at the helm. In the first half when he wasn't, it simply didn't. And I wonder if the Alouettes will look back on that and say, shoot, we should have opened it up sooner and said, even if he can't finish all the way, at least we took advantage of every single second. When
there were some opportunities there, though.
It's tough to say.
Deep ball to Tyson Philpott.
Yeah, you got that.
It's an opportunity. You're in the pocket. He's literally streaking free with a step 2 or 3 on two of the best cover guys in the league. That doesn't have anything to do with his left hamstring, I don't think.
That's for the record. I asked Tyler Snead, I asked Tyson Philpott if as receivers any of their scramble drill rules, changed based on lack of mobility, and they said nothing changed. Like, game plan didn't seem to change. Like, they didn't change any of what they've done all year. And I asked Justin Lawrence, who's the center for the Alouettes, was all East Division this year, who was obviously doing all the checks with the blocking up front. I said, "Is any of the protection change?" And he said no. So it seems like the Alouettes basically kept their offense, which, I mean, fair enough. The offense was good all year. Davis has been dealing with this hamstring for a long time. It's not like this is a new injury, right? But it seems like they basically rolled everything into this game and said, yeah, we're not going to change what we've done all year just based off this latest tweak. We'll see how it goes. And I do suspect that between Moss and Alexander, they said, well, let's keep it in the pocket earlier. But this comes back to me to complimentary football and that missed pick 6 5 minutes into the game. Because if the Alouettes get a lead there, all of a sudden, you can be a more conservative on offense, right? You can run the ball more. You can hit more quick stuff, more receiver screens, things that you know are not going to put Davis Alexander at risk, and things that are not going to require him to run, right? And potentially re-aggravate that hamstring, make it worse, and you can be a little more patient with it. So it just depends on the flow of the game. And obviously falling behind is the last thing you want if you're a team with a quarterback with a bad hamstring, right? If the Alouettes had a 15-point lead early in the game, now you go full ball control, right? Instead, they were playing from behind for most of this game. They did have that 7-1 lead at one point, but they never led after Saskatchewan got that touchdown. That's their first touchdown. So
we're running short on time here. So is there anything else you want to get in?
I thought it was a good, great cut. I thought it was an awesome festival. I thought we did great work. And I thought that our fans, listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call them, were awesome. And it was great to see so many of them in person.
Our people, JC.
I think
be quick.
My last quick takeaway.
Don't be long-winded.
This is the first time in my covering the league that I saw a commissioner booed the entire time he was handing out a Grey Cup. I think that's significant, and I wonder what impact it's going to have on Stuart Johnston and how he operates things going forward.
I want to give a quick shout out to some people before we sign off for the pod. I got a flight to catch. First of all,
Justin's flight leaves in 53 minutes. It's not a joke in the graduation.
FRC President Jeff Hamilton, who put together a bunch of events in Winnipeg, specifically some dinners with the media, arranged the FRC suite, and continues to go to bat for the media, even though he's not on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers beat every single day. He was a great host. I think made all of the media here feel at home. Then I would want to give a shout out to the CFL Public Relations group, Lucas Barrett and Herb Fung, and also G, along with the other people that work with them. They put up with a lot of requests during the week, especially from 3DownNation, helping us out with a bunch of things, and all the media as well, organizing media shuttles, some of the stuff the public might not want to hear, but that crew deserves a shout out. And I think just overall, coming to this event, guys, we were talking about it, it is the real, true feel of Canadiana at a Grey Cup. Canadians from coast to coast to coast, all corners of our country, coming together and celebrating, yes, football, but also being politely passionate Canadians. That's what stands out to me. I would say that we're biased, but if you look at the numbers, the Grey Cup every year is the major event that happens in our country consistently. Like the Toronto Blue Jays aren't in the World Series every single year, okay? The Stanley Cup doesn't always have a Canadian team, but the Grey Cup is always played on Canadian soil, well, unless the years when there was UX expansion, but
We're still playing on Canadian soil.
there wasn't one down there?
Nope.
Okay, my
It's
bad.
playing up here.
There we go. So it's usually always played up here. We'll see if Stuart Johnson changes that in the future.
He said he won't.
He said he won't, but let's see. Actions and words, all that stuff. But I think it is pretty cool. Fellas, don't you agree?
It's the best week of the year. And that's why it's worth only sleeping 3 hours a night.
That's why my eyes are barely open.
There is nowhere else in the free world where the leader of the country is going to be walking around with a bunch of drunk fans and getting her, checked on by the Grey Cup Fun Police and engaging with everyone. Like, it's a special, special event.
That was cool too. Mark Carney shows up, not only just to the game and with like CSIS people around him or Secret Service or whatever you want to call it, and sitting in his suite, mingling with the fans of the Grey Cup Festival. And then he had the audacity to make a pick in the game live on TSN. He wasn't like a true politician.
And he was
actually made a decision.
And he was right.
Yes. He broke the Carney curse. So that was another layer to add to this. I think all in all, a really great Grey Cup week in Winnipeg. Hodge, shout out to you for being an awesome host. Your place is dope. I might come back here more than you like.
That's fine as long as next time I get the big chair.